Days Gone was released only 2 years ago in April, and the window for making remakes of the video games is usually at least half a decade. However, Sony has been making headlines as of late with their sudden push towards remaking safe games to fill up the PlayStation 5's exclusive library. This started with the Demon's Souls, and that was a remake that everyone agreed as well as deserved, since the original games was very dated by now and definitely needed a remake. Not to mention that the fact that it's originally released over a decade ago. Then in 2021, while people were expecting to see sequels to the games that Sony has at the time, such as Days Gone, it was revealed that the first The Last of Us game is getting a remake instead, which had a pretty good remaster in the 2014. People were a bit conflicted upon this announcement, since the majority of the gamers think that the game aged very well, and would rather see Naughty Dog return to their other IPs such as the Jak and Daxter. Personally, I think I would choose a brand new IP though. Now, with the recent news as well that Neil Druckmann confirms The Last of Us Part 3 script is written, but they're currently not working on it yet, and may take a few more years until they do. Sure, lots of people may be disappointed to hear this news, or perhaps even excited. But back in track regarding Days Gone. Reports also revealed that the Sony actually rejected a sequel to Days Gone in favor of sticking to safer games, which is a decision that even many Sony fans found strange, because they would much rather see Days Gone redeem itself from the hiccups it saw as a game with a sequel, compared to the remake of a game that already plays well and received a record-breaking sequel just last year. Allowing less popular franchises to grow just feels like a better thing to do. ZDEyE here from the future. During the recording of this video, we received lots of reviews of the Returnal on the PlayStation 5, and that the game alone proved already that Sony doesn't just stick to, and I quote, save games, and instead they have a variety of different titles that they believe in and invest in too. Otherwise, Returnal wouldn't have been a hit, and on top of that, the game that is so different compared to the other titles that we received before. And this just summarizes that we shouldn't be afraid that Sony is sticking to their big games and not opening up new paths for the other original games to be made. This led to a much deserved petition created by fans that asked Sony to give Days Gone another chance, especially since it's roughly sold around 3 to 4 million copies, which is great for a new IP, and the fact that the Sony announced it for PC goes to show that they do believe that it's a decent game. However, based on a couple of the important reasons, I think that the Days Gone needs a remake rather than sequel right away. Before you raise your eyebrows, give me a chance to explain and possibly change your mind too. Obviously, first off, the game had many bugs, like literally. If you played it without the patch, you just might have just stopped playing it altogether. Despite the game being released on the only one platform, it had many performance issues and that caused it to slow down at several points, which is the annoyance, since the one thing console gaming usually has over the PC is a lack of such an issue. After all, there were massive audio problems in the game, whether it's the audio sync going off when the characters and zombies spoke, and on top of that, sometimes the dialogue would disappear entirely too, making it difficult to understand anything and force players to rely on the subtitles. Except that even the subtitles cut off at times, which means you go neither with the dialogue nor the subtitles, and had the awkwardly watched characters move their silent lips towards each other. There are a bunch of other issues too, such as the cars floating, the environmental having graphical issues, freakers getting stuck at the random spots, and so on. And if you think it ends there, it does not. There are bugs that affected the game's story too, such as not being able to see a hostage that you rescue if a player shoots at the enemy next to him first. This made the entire cutscene disappear, which obviously breaks the immersion. And lastly, the game even crashed at times, which is rather rare to see on a console games, but sometimes Days Gone managed to do it. This took a 25GB patch to make the game finally work properly, and after that players were finally able to play the game properly. However, many people did not finish the game at all as the result, and makes it complicated as to whether or not people would buy the sequel or not. since their first experience was hindered immensely due to the technical issues. Now that we have that part of the game's history out of the way, let's talk about why it needs a remake and how it can make things better. First of all, I don't mean to say that the game needs a remake right now, just 2 years after its release. But it's important to keep development time in mind. No good video game is created in a single year, at least not usually. So even if Days Gone started being remade today, it would take the game a long time to be finished, and by then enough time would have passed for a remake to feel natural. And what can the remakes do better? Well, a lot of things. Even though a lot of gamers did enjoy the game, they want a sequel to it because they see potential in the game's concept, especially since Sony does not have another exclusive that fills the quota for a game like this. Let's start with the shooting mechanics in the game, since it's one of the most important parts of the survival adventure. Unfortunately, Days Gone was unbalanced when it came to the shooting aspect. When you get the best sniper and a heavy machine gun in the game, you will not have any incentive to try more strategies out. And running out of the ammo is not an issue in the game either, which could have been scarce since this is a game that feels like a wasteland. Additionally, while you were shooting backwards from your bike, you cannot do it when you're on the foot. When a game has intense chases where freakers who wish to kill you at any cost are after you, being able to quick fire behind is increased your survival chances. That would be quite a good option. Instead, you had to stop, look behind and then shoot, only to continue running away. The simple mechanics would have made the game feel so much better, with the inclusion of the small quality of life touches to the game, and the remake can feel far more satisfying. The game allows you to run away from the freakers if you run inside a tunnel or go to the rooftop where they can't chase that anymore. But that should not be the case. Sure, having a way of escape is a great thing, but we've learned anything from the day-night cycle of Dying Light, players should have fight harder for it. A remake of Days Gone with more aggressive and intellectual zombies would help it feel more intense while still offering safer options to those who want it. I admit that having a greater focus on the story is one of the best things about Days Gone, since most zombie-based games try to focus more on a fighting instead. However, the reason behind other games offering so much variety is because we already had a simple zombie stories too many times before. Days Gone needed to include important mechanics from other games, such as the deep clan system, being able to manage and craft your resources better, more hostile and varied behavior from the freakers, and a bit more complexity within your fellow survivors. ZDEyE handles these features well, but unfortunately Days Gone missed out despite being a direct competitor. A remake can of course fix this and make the game stand out not only as a Sony exclusive but as a direct competitor to one of the Xbox's best selling titles. The story of Days Gone is good and does offer a conclusion to the main story. But far too many plot points were left unanswered, which led people to believe that story DLC might be coming along the way. Unfortunately, that did not happen, and instead we also aren't getting a sequel at the time. With the plot that we already had and the development time for a whole new game, we can certainly have a more satisfying conclusion to the story, and also see what happened to some of the characters who did not receive any resolution to their plot lines. This probably sounds like a random complaint, but think about it. One of the best things about Days Gone is its beautiful open world, which Bend Studio clearly put a lot of effort into. However, your bike breaks down and runs out of fuel far too quickly, and it greatly holds you back from exploring more of the game's map. I personally did not mind this feature at all, because you need to strategize your travel based on how you can survive on time. Whether the remake makes the consequences less severe or finding resources easier, making your bike more reliable would cause the players to explore the world more, and taking the beauty in is a great experience when you're not in the mood to progress through the storyline. If you don't believe me that is a thing, look how many people still boot up Red Dead Redemption 2 just to enjoy its environment and random encounters. According to the ex-employee of Ben's studio, Days Gone was supposed to include a co-op mode that would allow players to mess around in the game's world with their friends. However, due to time constraints, they were not able to put it inside. However, when Days Gone 2 was pitched to Sony, they wanted to include co-op capabilities and a secondary mode which would not have affected the game's story, but still add more things to do. The idea behind it was that players would have been able to help each other out throughout the gameplay, or even make crew with each other and having base to operate from, while making sure hordes of zombies wouldn't be coming to destroy them. While Days Gone 2 isn't happening, a Days Gone 1 remake would greatly benefit from a multiplayer capabilities, since it adds more incentives for people to buy and enjoy the game's world in a whole new light. I know some of you are thinking, if there are so many changes that needs to be made, why not make a whole new game? The reason behind that is the fact that it's much easier to sell a game based on the name that people already recognize. With how many zombie games coming out every day, it wouldn't be a good idea to make a third zombie franchise in such a short time when The Last of Us Part 2 just came out last year, and its a standalone multiplayer mode is still in the development. Giving Days Gone another chance and the ability to truly utilize its true potential allows both the IP to be saved, and also makes it safer for Sony to invest money into an ambitious co-op zombie game. And that's why I believe Days Gone needs a remake instead of The Last of Us. I hope that you liked the video regardless of whether or not you agree with me. And if you did, don't forget to like the video and hit the subscribe button. Don't shy away from using the comment section, because I'll be reading all your thoughts. And if you want immediate updates for my next videos, hit the bell icon. Consider supporting me on my Patreon with the availability to see these sorts of special videos earlier with the additional rewards. Lastly, check out the rest of my special video playlist. I have put time and effort into individual videos, and I'm very proud of them, how they all have turned out. Those of you who made to this point of this video, I will be doing a giveaway. I will be giving away 10 euros code for the PlayStation Network. But this is important to know, that this is only redeemable in a Spanish account. Now of course you can just simply create a new Spanish PlayStation account and redeem it. Well, be quick, since this code is first come, first served. Good luck. Thank you for watching this video, and have a wonderful day.